Man, it's kind of hard to believe that the wind you just saw knocked out power to our house for 4 days, but the electrical lines around here are not very well protected from all these trees. And thankfully on our property I only have one tree down and it didn't damage anything or hurt anyone, so I'm thankful for that. And the good news is the power's back on now, so now that that's over, we can get started on these videos I've been procrastinating for a little over a year on. Cue the intro. Alright, allow me to officially welcome you to the new channel. I go by Fiori, for those of you who don't know me already from the Fiori Beats channel, where I've been posting beats and some tutorials and drum kits and free loop kits for a little over 3 years now. This is the first official video on this channel, and for those of you who don't know who I am, welcome. I appreciate you being here. And if you're wondering what I'm going to be doing with the channel, this is going to be a channel that is dedicated primarily to sound design, tutorials, and vlogging related to that, as well as, just some other general exploration of production tips and tricks. Anything that I really come across that I think would be valuable to you guys, I hope to bottle that up and put it into some content you can enjoy. As you just saw in the intro, this is a new setup for me. When we finally moved into this house, I was given this sort of dedicated production space, so I'm very excited to have that. I've already enjoyed it tremendously for creating music and just doing other things, but I'm excited to sort of have this space to start recording videos and to bring you guys some of the content that you've been asking me for over the last couple years. Today's video is going to be pretty simple. I'd like to get to know you guys a little bit better, especially those of you who are already subscribed to the channel, even though I haven't been posting videos. So we're gonna have a little bit of a beat battle, but more on that in a minute. So when the power went out last week, I wasn't sure what to do with my time. It was out for like 4 days. And I was planning on doing this video during that time. So what I did do instead is I grabbed this little Zoom and I went around the house and I gathered a bunch of just toys and random things that I could find. And I went ahead and I recorded them into the Zoom using a Rode NTG2 and got some pretty interesting stuff. And so what I decided to do was take those sounds and put them in a kit, as well as process some of those sounds in this video, and then take all of that combined and give it to you guys to use in this beat battle. So the rules for the beat battle are pretty simple, and they are as follows. 1, you must use the sounds in this kit. You may process them any way you like. You can do further sound design, layer them, use the process sounds that I include. If you're not comfortable with sound design, that is why I'm including some of these process sounds, so you guys can at least start with something that's a little bit easier to deal with. And I realize that not everyone is comfortable with sound design, so that's not necessarily a requirement for me, but if you want to impress me, if you want to sort of show me where you're at, that's sort of one way I'm going to get to know sort of who you are and what you're doing with sound design already. So I'm excited to hear what you come up with. 2, you must submit your beats either using a Dropbox link or an MP3 file. I will not accept submissions that are either SoundCloud links or YouTube links or other, like Google Drive links or any of that. So if you want to be included in this contest, make sure it is a Dropbox link or an MP3 file. 3, leave me a comment under this video telling me why you'd like to learn more about sound design. And if not sound design, what you'd like to learn more about. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm looking for ideas to better serve you guys with content. So this is just one of the things I wanted to make sure we cover. Let me know what it is you're after or why it is you're after this content, so that I can give you guys something better, something more palatable and applicable to what it is you're actually trying to accomplish. So that's it. The winner of this contest will get a copy of every single kit on my website right now. That is currently available. Second place will get 2 kits of their choice from my website, and third place will get 1 kit of their choice from my website. I realize that's not a lot, but we're just getting started, and I do have some other contests and bigger prizes planned for in the future. For now, I just want to see, who's interested in this stuff, and this is a chance for you to sort of get a feature on my channel. I will be doing a video where I review the submissions and select a winner myself. Promise I won't usually have such long intros to my videos, unless they're like vlogs or whatever. But now that's out of the way, let's open up FL and see how these sounds are. Some of them may be rough, but that's all right. We're going to make them work. Let's get after it. All right, so like I said, I've just loaded these up. Just going to go through and find some that I like. I'd like this little guy right here. Going to hit Control Delete. I'm just going to drag that back into here. I'm going to play with different pitches, and I'm going to gain stage it before I run it through any sort of processing. So I like this timbre, but it has a little bit of noise still and like a bit of bass that I don't want. So the first thing I'm going to do is just a basic EQ here. There you go, that's interesting for a little perk. We're going to actually take micro shift from Sound Toys and just give it a little bit of 3D depth. That's good. Kind of feels a little bit left ear heavy. Just center it a bit there. I think I want to actually add maybe a little bit of character to it with RC20. Let's give it a shot. Actually, that's perfect. I'm going to just reduce this decay on the reverb here. We might actually do that in Edison. And just to change it a little bit, play around with some formants. So I'm going to actually take that and just import that back into Edison. I'm going to normalize that once more. I'm going to fade that out a bit more. That's good. Now I'm going to put that right back in here. Now I do need to take this off. So we're going to go ahead and mess with its transients real quick. Now you don't have to be so picky. You can take your time on stuff, or you can just bust through a lot. That's one thing with sound design that I tend to do is I like to work on things a little longer than I should. But it doesn't hurt to take your time to get that sound you really want. But do keep in mind, if you work on one sound for too long, you are going to get ear fatigue, especially if it's just one sound over and over and over again, and you're going to not hear the differences to the things you're doing as well or as clearly as if you move around. So sometimes I'll put a sound down, come back to it later. Boom, that's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and take that, again, record it into Edison, and then save that sound and move on to the next one. So this was the tape measure. I'm going to go ahead and come in here and normalize it. You can kind of just after a while see what is exactly room noise and what isn't. When I'm in Edison, I'm just highlighting the noise. Then right click this toothbrush, whatever it is. Once you've right clicked it, you've identified the noise profile. Then you can select the whole thing, left click it, and you can play with your thresholds and things in here. I can get into that in another video, but the default settings aren't bad. That sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this stuff, trim it off. This first transient, it's a little bit much. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Alt A and drop that down a bit. Let's just drag this back in. Now we can work with this. This to track 1. I'm actually gonna keep transgressor on here. This is a transient shaper. Now it's a little much right there, so we're gonna drop this down. Take some of the high end off. Maybe if we pitch it up, get it a little faster. Perfect. I'm going to actually go ahead and open up Effect Rack from Sound Toys. I've got a lot of presets saved in here that I will be releasing soon. We can sort of play with these, see what we can get. So we have before and after. Now the other thing I want to do is I actually want to take this, play with computed. Pitching is your friend. I just reversed it, came up with that. I kind of like that. I'm going to throw a reverb over that. A lot of this is just experimenting. And some EQ. Just take some of that high end off with a little bit of a shelf. Perfect. I'm planning the sound when I made it. A lot of it is, again, just experiment. Yeah, we'll take the second one. Boost it a little bit. I'll save that as kind of like an impact or an effect. Now let's see if we can find something and make a kick real quick. Like I said, I'm going to go through and sound design on a lot of these sounds. But right now, I want to make a kick. That's a kick right there. Alright, so we have our dry kick. It's lacking a lot, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take an EQ. Then we're going to throw a soft clipper after that. Just cut out a lot of these highs. I'm going to turn that to an actual low pass filter. Just looking at this, I can see a resonance that I can hear as well and don't like, so I'm going to turn this up. Just comb through so you can hear it. Can you see it? Right there. It's no bueno. So I'm going to take that. I'm actually going to line it up, and then I'm going to go here. I'm just going to make it real narrow. I'm just going to take that frequency out of there. Now because we have the soft clipper out of here, we can actually take this and boost the crap out of it. It would be easy to sit here and play with the EQ and a few other VSTs trying to get that to sound like a normal kick, but usually what I like to do is take the tone of that recording and then combine it with a synthesized normal like rack kick or whatever. You know, there are a lot of VSTs that make this easy and a lot more fun. So we can go ahead and open this up, and you have 3 sections. There's a click, a dry, and an oomph. The oomph is the synthesized kick where you can set things here. the dry is the original signal and the click adds a click to the kick. We're going to avoid that for now. We're going to turn the dry down. We're just going to start with the oomph. We're going to make a decent enough kick here that we are then going to mix back in with the original sample. So right off the bat, if you listen to the way this one is set up, it's more of like a bass sound. So we're going to turn that sustain down, turn that attack down. There's a pitch drop going on. Don't really need that. That's not bad. We're just going to play with this tone here. Now, if you recall with the original sample, what we were really missing was some bass and some oomph to the kick. So neither of these on their own need to sound like much, but we're going to get this right where we want it to mix back in with the dry. So we're going to turn that dry back up, maybe about here. We can go to a bass boost. Say maybe like 75 hertz. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you have wet selected, it is going to sculpt the oomph as well. So now be careful bringing this back in, especially if you've boosted the bass and hit the drive, but slowly bring this back in. Now there's a little bit of a click already. I don't know if you can hear that if you're not wearing headphones, especially when you're doing like kicks and 808s. I recommend wearing them. We can go here and we can play with this click. All right, that's good enough. What we're going to do is we're going to take that into Edison, do a little bit of post-processing, and move on to the next one. So we're going to hit normalize. And we're probably going to run this back through just to get this sort of digitally clipping, as is popular within trap music right now. A lot of what I do is for trap hip hop. I'd love to get into sound design for other applications, TV, movies, games, whatever. But music is what I enjoy, so that's where I am at right now. So we're going to go ahead and take that, run it back to default. And we're going to go ahead, boost it up, play with the envelope. And again, you know, this is to taste. So you can take this, you can lower that high end if you don't want that texture. I kind of like it. So. And we're going to run that clipper again. Now we're going to put in a compressor right before that soft clipper. It's probably a little overkill, but I'm going to see how much we can push it. Got a few too many compressors to choose from here. We're going to actually, yeah, we'll keep it with Boss Digital. I'm going to go for like a gritty, drive it here. I'm going to raise this ratio before I even get started. Bring the threshold down. I like that knee where it is. I'm going to do kind of a faster release, slower attack. And again, having that clipper after is going to help smooth out that transient that's left over. Now that's a little bit top heavy. So we can go to the tone on this compressor, one of my favorite features of this compressor. And we can parallel process it right in here. All right, sounds decent. Take that over to Edison. I'm going to actually just record this straight in. And that's it. Were I to use this in a beat, I might shorten that tail even more, it just depends. But even though it's slightly clipping, if you were to zoom in and look, this is where I want it. Alright guys, thank you for joining me in this video. I know it was a little bit unorganized and out of context, especially if you've been subscribed to the channel for almost a year now and I haven't posted anything, and this is just kind of coming out of left field. But I appreciate you being here with me and enjoying this content with me. I love making sounds. I love doing sound design. I hope that, I find the time to make as many tutorials as I have planned, do some of these vlogs where I just sort of go through my day-to-day and how I get this stuff done. And again, if you're interested in doing this beat battle for next week, all the stuff you need is in the description below. I am going to go ahead and finish through these sounds, process them, and get you guys both the raw files as well as the end products that I create. So feel free to use either. You can do sound design or no sound design. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want you to make something that you're proud of and submit it for this contest. The deadline is in the description below. I will be previewing the beats in a video and announcing the winner probably 2 weeks from today. But that deadline is important because I need to get those in so that I can make a video, sit down and really give everyone a good listen all the way through and get to that video editing before I need to post it for you guys. So I appreciate you. Look for another video next Saturday, hopefully a tutorial. Not sure what we'll do on that one yet, but stay with me. Thanks again, guys. Subscribe and like if you haven't yet already, and peace out.